Thanks for joining us from the Ohio AgNet Voice You Know with the News You Trust studio, sponsored by BASF, where you can count on the trusted performance of Allivo seed treatment to protect your soybean crop. Had a great day yesterday on week number 3 of feeding farmers in the field. You'll see more of that video as we get into the late part of the weekend, and more audio on that on Friday. But bottom line is a great family operation, making it work. It is a Century Farm, and you'll want to check that out and listen to the audio on Friday. The U.S. livestock industry is on the watch and then some over the threat of the New World screwworm and its potential to migrate from Mexico north into Texas. Projects have been approved and millions of dollars in funding allocated to control this parasite and keep it from spreading if it appears in Texas. If the New World screwworm migrates from Mexico into Texas, the 25-26 winter forecast suggests temperatures would not be low enough to threaten its winter survivability. A fact sheet on New World screwworm by Kansas State University in June of this year summarized the temperature scenario for the parasite this way. The New World screwworm is not tolerant of cold weather. Adults do not survive air temperatures below 20 degrees Fahrenheit. Larvae dropping from the host between 15 to 20 degrees Fahrenheit usually die. And pupation does not occur in dry soil when the mean average daily temperature is below 46 degrees Fahrenheit. So we'll be keeping track of Texas temperatures even more this year than normal. Let's check in now with our weekly update from the Ohio Soybean Council and your checkoff dollars at work. Here's Dusty Sonnenberg.
Well, in case you missed it because it does not show up on most calendars, this past Monday was designated as National Nematode Day this year, October 6th of 2025, by the SCN Coalition. Now, the soybean cyst nematode is the most destructive soybean pathogen in the United States, with annual yield losses estimated at more than $1 billion. Now, soybean cyst nematode is often underestimated because they can persist in fields without causing any noticeable above-ground symptoms. I had the opportunity to sit down with George Bird. He is an emeriti professor at Michigan State University and served on the first SCN Coalition, and tells us a little bit more about this pest.
The first question, where is the soybean cyst nematode native to? And we came up with the world, China, in relation to that. The second thing we talked about is when was it first detected in the United States? And that was 1954. The next question I asked them is where was it detected in North Carolina? And very quickly after that, we learned that all populations are different, from each other. And then the soybean cyst nematode basically was detected throughout the major soybean growing areas of the United States, and that became the need for the SCN Coalition.
To learn more about this pest and ways to effectively manage it, check out the podcast for the Ohio Field Leader this month. You can find that at ohioagnet.com under the Ohio Field Leader tab. Today's update brought to you by the Ohio Soybean Council and your soybean checkoff.
And thanks, Dusty. Today's weather brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Here's the forecast.
A dry day today after a chilly start this morning. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin. Quick Ohio forecast update for you. Here's what's going on. High pressure still sits over Michigan. It's giving us, it gave us the cool start and is giving us the beautiful sunshine through the day today. We are not going to be seeing any major trouble spots in our forecast for a little while. A few clouds may try and sneak in here for tomorrow and tomorrow night, but moisture is limited to areas much farther to our north, so I'm keeping us dry through Friday and then into the weekend. We warm up for tomorrow afternoon through the weekend, and next week is going to be sunny, warm, and dry in all areas. I don't see any weather threat at all or precipitation threat at all until maybe Friday, where we can see a few spits and sprinkles the 17th. Coverage is going to be minor. Moisture totals are going to be minor, but there could be some stuff around. Clouds definitely. And that's all because we're seeing an air mass shift again. Going into the weekend of the 18th and 19th, we are significantly cooler. The week of the 20th, it starts dry enough, but we do see some hit and miss showers coming in for areas south of I-70 late Monday and maybe again on Wednesday. Admittedly, though, the biggest threat of moisture out of both of those little waves farther west over parts of southern Indiana and into southern Illinois and the Missouri Valley. That's the way your forecast is stacking up. It is a dry one. Game on. Back to the fields. I'm Ryan Martin.
And thanks, Ryan. USDA not providing what it normally does this time of the year. Maybe we have a solution.
Typically, every Monday we get a crop progress report from USDA, but of course, they're operating under limited capacities because of the shutdown. So we're taking matters into our own hands. Well, your hands. We're calling it the USDA, YOU, Crop Progress Report. Want to hear from farmers across the state about how harvest is going so far? How much do you have done for corn or soybeans? How's harvest been treating you so far? You can drop your county and your update in the comments of our Facebook page. Just find the post that has the USDA Crop Progress Report image on it and comment there. We'll take all the comments and we'll compile them for our own Crop Progress Report next week. I'm Ty Higgins for the Ohio AgNet.
And thanks, Ty. Joining me is Caitlin Van Landenham. And Caitlin, nice to have you with us. Where do you go to school?
I attend Waterford High School. I've gone there my whole life, and I'm actually here with my FFA chapter today that I've been involved with for 5 years and am currently the president.
When you say here, we're just outside of Waterford at a Heritage Cooperative field plot. What was the students' role in coming out to today's experience in the field?
All of our students were invited to come and learn about all of Heritage's opportunities. We learned about the corn plant and the soybean plant itself, to drones and spraying, all the way to what different careers Heritage operates.
Well, that's a lot of opportunity in a lot of different places. I think the number was over 175 attended from several different schools in the area. You said you've been here in the past.
Yeah, my farm isn't too far down the road, about 3 minutes almost, and I drive past this land, and my science teacher, Mr. Schwinneman, actually owns this land, so it's a pretty tight community.
Does science class come out and do anything here?
Not yet. I think they just put this plot in not too long ago, but I could see them coming out. It's definitely a neat opportunity to see all these different testing plots.
Well, it'd be interesting, too, because you take the pod off of there, and it's got 3 beans in most of them. You can look really hard and maybe find a 4. But if you got that, you take the bean out, and it's like that's where it really gets started.
Yes.
What do we do with it? Well, science-wise, we can crush it and end up with a meal that dries or oil. And where do those products go? And on corn, if you take that kernel and you break it open gently, the part in there that would grow next year, if you take it out, it actually makes the rest of what that kernel does work better for both livestock and ethanol. So
Yeah.
they figured out how to do that.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of people don't realize how connected they are to agriculture, or how this soybean plant is in every little thing that we know. You could walk in a room and tie it to a soybean plant.
There ought to be a game show that you can do that. To name which
Yeah.
plant this came from. So.
Yeah, definitely. Agriculture is a very important aspect to my life. I do show livestock, and from this main aspect of Heritage Cooperative, I go to their store often. I'm a very big customer, or my family is, and feeding our livestock. So seeing these friendly faces around here is definitely fun, and really shows how small and family orientated our community is.
Where do you think your career goals might take you?
I definitely want to attend Ohio State's ATI and slowly transfer into main campus after 2 years. I think working for Heritage would be a very cool part, and working in the marketing aspect and showing the world how good agricultural practices are, and how people don't realize exactly what I said earlier, how agriculture really fuels our country.
Caitlin, thanks for the update. Enjoy the rest of the activities. Stay tuned, back with more after this.
Attention construction pros. Purple Wave Auction brings quality equipment to your fingertips. Join our bi-weekly online auctions featuring dozers, excavators, loaders, and more. We provide detailed listings, photos, and seller contact info. Inspect online or in person. With our no reserve policy, every item sells to the highest bidder. Visit purplewave.com today and see why informed builders choose Purple Wave. Transparent processes, real deals. Your next great purchase awaits. purplewave.com.
Think biodiesel is just another fuel? Think again. Biodiesel is Ohio innovation on the move. Clean, green, and built to keep diesel engines running strong. It's an engine booster, a soybean supporter, and an environmental champion all in one. Every gallon reduces emissions, strengthens Ohio farms, and powers your ride. Drive with purpose. Choose biodiesel. Learn how at soyohio.org. The average retail prices for half of the 8 major fertilizers were higher than last month, while prices for the other half were lower during the first week of October 2025, according to sellers surveyed by DTM. Rabobank reported that high-emission suppliers such as Trinidad and Tobago and China will face steep liabilities, reducing their competitiveness. Lower-emission producers like the U.S. are expected to gain market share. U.S. trade policy and European Union tariffs on Russian fertilizers will further accelerate sourcing shifts, the report said. All 8 fertilizers are now higher in price compared to 1 year earlier. The last holdout, potash, is now 7% higher. 1034O is up 13% over a year ago. MAP 15% higher. Anhydrous is 18% more expensive. DAP 23% higher. Urea is 26% more expensive. UAN 28, 32% higher. And UAN 32 is 33% more expensive looking back to last year. Today's market analysis is brought to you by the Louis Dreyfus Company. Excited to be building the newest state-of-the-art soybean crush facility in Upper Sandusky, Ohio. For marketing information of your beans to LDC, call 574-566-2113. Now with our market analysis, here's Ryan Martin.
Grain market spent most of Wednesday in a mixed state, but at the end of the day, wow, take a look. Beans led the charge higher, wheat and corn getting both into the green as well. It was a day of relatively mediocre volume on Wednesday. However, volume did improve in the bean complex, and maybe that's part of the reason why we did see beans finish anywhere from 3 to 7.5 higher. November soybean futures traded through their 20 and 50-day moving averages yesterday and did get a little bit above the 1028 resistance level. So what are we watching on Thursday? If we can get a secondary close above 1028, that may signal another leg up in this bean market. And you ask me why, Ryan? I don't know why. There's no reason for the bean market to be doing what it's doing. Honestly, there's no reason for corn and wheat markets to be doing anything to the positive side either, but here we are. Of note, yesterday, Brazilian precipitation forecasts are improving, and rapid planting of first crop corn in Argentina should hit 30 to 32% complete here by the end of this week. A routine South American climate pattern lies ahead. Longer-term guidance keeps La Nina, which is bad for South American crops, either weak and short-lived or not really a deal at all. Drought is probably not going to be a problem down there, which means South American crops are on track to be big. EIA Energy report came out yesterday. That's one area of the government that's not shut down yet. We'll see what happens next week. Ethanol production for the week ending October 3rd came in at 315 million gallons versus 293 the previous week, up 3% from the same week a year ago. Ethanol production's seasonal recovery has commenced, and larger grind levels are going to be anticipated from right now through the holiday season in late November, early December. However, longer term, it's doubtful that ethanol production will be overly exciting and balance sheet changing because the energy markets are following grain into narrow ranges at relatively deflated prices. I'm Ryan Martin.
And thanks, Ryan. Today's market's brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Overnight at the open, December corn up 0.5 cent at 422.5. The March is up 1/4 cent at 438. If you carried that new crop all the way to May, it's up 1/4 cent at 446.5 cents. November beans down 1/4 cent, 10.29 1/4. January down 1/4 cent, 10.44, and carried out to March, your $10.57 down 1/4 cent. In wheat, December up 2 at 509 1/4 cent. The July 26 new crop is up 1/2 at 551 1/4, and September is 565 1/2, up 1/2 cent. At yesterday's livestock close, we had October cattle up 75 cents at 233.85. December up $1.15 at 238.87, and February up $1.50 at $242.22. Lost a little ground in hogs, with October down 22 at 97.62, December down 7 cents at 86.10, and February down 15 cents at 88.12. Feeder cattle, November up $4.57 to $368.82. January up $4.52 at $363.52. And March, not to be left behind, up $4.95 at $360.12. Be sure to check our website at ohioagnet.com. Some new videos coming, updates on all the markets and weather. It's all there at ohioagnet.com. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dale Minyo, and this is the Ohio AgNet.